All right, thanks, guys. The Pacers take on the Hornets. That's going to be a 7 o'clock Eastern tip-off in the Queen City. The Pacers are minus 2.5. Totals 216 and a hook. Right now, Charlotte is plus $1.15 on the money line. Now, Charlotte's on a nice little two-game winning streak, 2-0 straight up in their last couple of games. They're also 3-0 against the spread in their last trio of ball games as well. They rank in the top 5 in three-point percentage. They also rank in the top 10 in offensive field goal percentage at home. They're led by Terry Rozier, who's scoring 16 points a game, 6 assists. P.J. Washington's right behind him with 7 rebounds. And Cody Zeller has 12 rebounds per game on average for the year, and 14 points per game he's averaging. Now, Indiana on the other side, just 2-4 against the number on the year. They've also failed to cover in 2 out of their last 3 away from home. Now, they failed to cover against Cleveland twice and Detroit twice on the season. They also rank in the bottom 10 in scoring, bottom 10 in offensive rebounding, and bottom 5 in defensive three-point percentage. Domantas Sabonis is questionable with a calf. Oladipo and Turner still out indefinitely. Now, total-wise, Charlotte 2-0 to the over in their games at the current total. They're also 60% to the over following a day off. I'm going to purchase the half a point, buy it up, and lean toward the home team in this matchup here. Give me Charlotte plus 3 in the over 216.5 in that game. Next matchup, Celtics taking on the Cavs, 7 o'clock Cleveland. Boston's minus 5.5, total 213 and a hook. We saw a half a point fade of Boston and movement upward on the total. The Celtics open minus 6, down to minus 5.5. Total open 213, up to 213 and a hook. 72% are leaning Boston, 65% shaded toward the over. Right now, Cleveland is plus 200 on the money line. The Cavs are just 2-4 straight up on the year. They've also failed to cover in 3 out of their last 4. They failed to cover against Dallas, Indiana, and Milwaukee. They also rank bottom 10 in scoring. They're 20th in offensive rebounding at home. Matthew Dellavedova is questionable for tonight's action. Henson is still out indefinitely as well. Zizic still out indefinitely as well. Kevin Porter out for tonight's action for Cleveland as well. Now, Boston on the other side, 4-1 straight up overall, 3-2 against the spread. They're also on a nice little 4-game winning streak. They covered 3 out of those 4 games successfully. They're led by Kemba Walker, scoring 26 points a game, 5 rebounds. Jason Tatum's right behind him with 22 a game, 8 rebounds. And Gordon Hayward, 8 rebounds for him per contest on average, along with 17 points per game. Now, Boston ranks in the top 5 in points allowed, top 3 in defensive field goal percentage on the road. When it comes to this total, Boston is 4-1 to the under, is thus far on the year, 2-0 to the under when traveling. I'm going to purchase the half a point, buy it down, and take Boston minus 5 and the under 213.5 in that game. Next matchup, Spurs, Hawks, 7:30 Atlanta. The Spurs are minus 3.5, total 219. Saw a half a point move towards San Antonio and movement upward on the total. The Spurs open minus 3, up to 3.5. Total open 218, up to 219. Right now, the Hawks are plus 140 on the money line. Atlanta 3-2 against the spread overall for the year. They're also 2-1 ATS at home. Trae Young is probable for tonight's action. Looks like he is going to play. He's responsible for 27 points a game on average, 5 rebounds and 7 assists. John Collins right behind him with 8 rebounds a game, 17 points on average per game. The Atlanta Hawks are in the top 10 in points allowed, top 5 in defensive field goal percentage. Now, San Antonio on the other side, they failed to cover in 5 out of their 6 games for the season. They failed to cover against the Lakers, Clippers, Portland, Washington, and the Knicks. They've also failed to cover in 3 out of their last 4 games when laying the points. Now, total-wise, San Antonio 3-1 to the under in their last 4. Atlanta 5-0 to the under overall for the year. I'm going to buy the hook, slide it up, and take Atlanta plus 4 and the under 219 in that game. Before we go ahead and move on, I just want to take a quick time out and welcome you to the show. Got some lines and personal leans out for Tuesday's NBA action. But before we go ahead and dive into some more of that, I just want to quickly remind you to check me out on my website at patreon.com/BrockPage. We do daily premium personal selections on that site. We have a bunch of different memberships, tiers, and packages, beginning at just $1.99 per month. Once again, those are our premium personal selections there. Those are games that I personally have action on. Now on this program here on YouTube, we'll cap the entire slate. We'll predict the entire slate, but that's not realistic in real life. So basically, the Patreon page features games that I personally have action on. So anyway, link for that site is in the description section below. My current record is right on the homepage. That is patreon.com/BrockPage. All right, let's go ahead and dive into some more lines of personal leans. All starts Eastern Standard Time. And on deck, we've got the Lakers taking on the Bulls. 8 o'clock Eastern tip-off in Chicago. The Lakers are 6.5, total 215 and a hook. We saw a 1.5 point move toward Los Angeles and movement downward on the total. The Lakers open 5 up to 6.5, total open 218 down to 215 and a hook. 77% of the consensus are leaning toward the Lakers, 75% shaded toward the over. Right now, Chicago is plus 250 on the money line. Now, Chicago is just 2-5 straight up on the year. They failed to cover in 5 out of those 7 games. They failed to cover against Indiana, Cleveland, the Knicks, Toronto, and Charlotte. They also rank in the bottom 5 in field goal percentage, bottom 5 in offensive rebounding. A couple more things to think about when it comes to this Chicago team. They rank in the bottom 10 in defensive field goal percentage. They're also in the bottom 5 in defensive rebounding. Now, the Lakers on the other side, they are 5-1 overall for the year. They're also 5-1 against the spread. They covered against San Antonio, Dallas, Memphis, Charlotte, and Utah. And they're on a nice little 5-game winning streak with regard to the spread as well. 5-0 against the number in their last 5 straight. They're led by Anthony Davis, who's scoring 29 a game, 12 rebounds. LeBron James, in addition to that, 26 points per game, 8 rebounds, 11 assists. Looks like he's on his way to averaging a triple-double if he keeps this up in the next couple of weeks. Now, Dwight Howard has 8 rebounds a game on average for the Lakers as well. The Lakers are top 10 in field goal percentage, top 5 in points allowed. When it comes to this total, Los Angeles is 4-2 to the under thus far on the season, 2-1 to the under at home. 2-1 to the under on the road. Meanwhile, Chicago 4-3 to the under overall for the year. I'm going to purchase the 0.5 point, slide it down, and take the Lakers -6 and the under 215.5 in that game. Next matchup, Magic Thunder, 8 o'clock OKC. The Thunder are 3.5, total 205. We saw a 0.5 point move toward OKC and movement downward on the total. Thunder open -3 up to 3.5. Total open 207.5 down to 205. 60% are leaning OKC, 58% shaded toward the over. Right now, Orlando is plus 145 on the money line. Now, if you like the Magic in this matchup here, they're just 2-4 straight up on the year, and they failed to cover in 5 out of those 6 games. They failed to cover against Denver, Milwaukee, Toronto, Atlanta, and Cleveland. Orlando also ranks in the bottom 5 in scoring, bottom 5 in offensive field goal percentage. Michael Carter-Williams is questionable for tonight's action. Now, OKC on the other side, they successfully covered the number in 3 out of their last 4. They're 4-2 ATS overall for the year. Successful covers over the Pelicans, Houston, Golden State, and Utah. They're led by Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, 22 points a game, 7 rebounds. Danilo Gallinari, 18 points a game, 5 rebounds. Steven Adams, 12 rebounds. He's listed as day-to-day, so he's kind of questionable for tonight, although I think he should play. One more thing to add, Nerlens Noel is questionable for tonight's action. But regardless, OKC, top 5 in offensive rebounding, top 5 in defensive field goal percentage. And when it comes to the total, OKC, 5-1 to the under thus far in the year, 4-0 to the under at home. Orlando on the other side, 6-0 to the under overall for this season. I'm going to buy the hook, slide it down, and take the Thunder -3 and the under 205 in that game. All right, next and final matchup for the show, it is going to be Miami taking on Denver. 9 o'clock tip-off in the Mile High City. Denver's -4.5, total 210. Saw a 0.5 point fade of Denver and movement downward on the total. The Nuggets open 5 down to -4.5. Total open 210.5 down to 210 even. 60% are leaning Miami, 71% shaded toward the over. Right now, the Heat are plus 165 on the money line. Now, Justice Winslow and Derek Jones are both questionable for Miami. Winslow is responsible for 15 points a game and 9 rebounds. Miami ranks in the bottom 10 in free throw percentage. They're also bottom 10 in points allowed on the road. Now, the Nuggets on the other side, 4-2 straight up overall on the year. victorious over Orlando, Sacramento, Phoenix, and Portland. They rank in the top 10 in points allowed. They're led by Jamal Murray, who's scoring 19 a game, 5 rebounds. Nikolai Jokic, 16 points a game, 11 rebounds, 6 assists for him. Denver's also 2-1 to the over in their last 3. I'm going to buy the hook, slide it down, and take Denver -4 and the over 210 in that game. All right, let's go ahead and slide into our quick pick recap brought to you by patreon.com/BrockPage. I got Denver -4 over 210, OKC -3 under 205, Lakers -6 under 215.5, Atlanta +4 under 219, Charlotte +3 over 216.5, and last but certainly not least, I like Boston -5 and the under 213.5 in that game. All right, let's go ahead and dive into some shout-outs brought to you by patreon.com/BrockPage. Shout out to the Sauce Sensei Master Drip Lord. Shout out to Carson DeSavage, Mark Z, Lee Walker, Vernon Williard, Square 707, Steam PS4. Shout out to Sean O'Neill, Dante Carter, Danny J, Ken Cunningham, Munchy Crunchy, Pittsburgh Gentleman PA, Ulysses Hayes, Stephen Lewis, You Call Me Dad, Arthur Meade Jr., and last but certainly not least, shout out to Sean Mahias. All right, guys, that's going to do it for me. Once again, don't forget to check me out on my website at patreon.com/BrockPage. We do daily premium personal plays on that website. Now, on the YouTube channel, we cap the entire slate of games. That's not feasible. That's not possible. You'll lose every time if you play each and every game. What we do on Patreon is, well, I post my personal plays, games that I personally have action on. We have a bunch of different memberships, tiers, and packages that you can subscribe to, beginning at just $1.99 per month. You can also access my current record for free right on the homepage. All you got to do is click the link in the description section below. That is patreon.com/BrockPage. But most importantly, guys, I got to thank you for tuning in right here on YouTube. I really hope you enjoyed all this great free content, all this great free information. Happy Tuesday to you. Best of luck to you. And don't forget to check me out on patreon.com/BrockPage.